So welcome back this week's live stream. Thank you guys for watching us. I want to thank our moderator in here, Janet, for coming in, and all those that are already in the chat. If you don't moderator in here, go
Janet,
ahead and
coming in, and all those that are already in the chat. Thank our moderator in here.
I'm trying to cut it off.
All right.
Sorry, man.
No, you're good. You're good. You're good. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't feedback coming through. But anyhow, go ahead if you don't mind and share the live stream now, and go ahead and give us a couple thumbs up. But we got Stephen Hall back from Hematite Homestead again with us. So, excuse me. Thanks, Stephen, for coming back on with us, and we're going to jump right on into this.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, absolutely. I always like having you on here. So, if your hunting season has been like my hunting season, what kind of hunting season have we had?
Well, let me put it to you like this. So I took 2 weeks vacation during the 2 weeks of early muzzleloading season, and some coworkers took rifle season, which is right after that. And we're going to not go see each other for a whole month. And before I left the office before muzzleloading season, he said, "Send me a picture if you get a big one." I walked out the door and said, "Wait a minute." I went back and said, "What exactly do you consider a big one?" And he said, "Okay, send me a picture of anything you get." Well, a couple of weeks later, we hadn't talked, and somehow some type of work thing happened, and we ended up communicating with each other. And he was like, "Hey, by the way, how'd you do?" And I said, "Well, I sent you a picture of all the deer I got, just like you asked." And he said, "I didn't get any pictures." And I said, "Exactly."
So it sounds like we're probably going to have to be gatherers, I don't yeah, we'll be out there gathering. We ain't much on the hunting this year, y'all. My hunting has went about the same. We have Terminator deer here. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Terminator deer, but Terminator deer, they're kind of like the Terminator. They just won't die. They refuse to die. So I shot one with a bow a couple weeks back on a Tuesday, tracked him that night, did my live stream, went back out, tracked him again, went a lot further, couldn't find him, came back to the house, went and tracked him that morning, couldn't find him, came back to the house, got the wife, went back out that evening, went tracking him again, and we finally got to where there was just like blood every 10 yards, little tiny drops. Like we were having to scan a very large area before we would find another drop of blood, and never found him. So talking to some buddies of mine and that own the property where he ran onto, and they got him on trail cam with a bullet. Well, not a bullet, but a hole from an arrow straight through both sides, right through the vitals. And he's walking around, living, breathing, and I guess breathing at this point. And then this week, excuse me, last week on Saturday, we went down to a buddy of mine's house and hunted, shot one, watched her drop, flipped down off of the bank, literally end over end over end. I mean, when she got hit, she stiffened out, rolled down the hill all the way down to the bottom. I said, "Okay, you'll lay there, and I'll stay here and wait for a buck if one comes." Hunting came about 12:30, went down to the bottom of the hill. There's no more deer. Where did it go? I have no clue. Pile of blood. Deer was laying there in the blood, big pile of long string of blood all the way down the bottom where it had flipped end over end. And like I said, big pile of blood where it laid, and now it's not there. So I've heard from two different people. They think it was a bear that grabbed that and took off with it. They said, and I was like, well, there wasn't no drag marks, so a bear would have drug it. And they said, no. So if it's a really big bear, they'll bite it in the neck and flip that thing over their backside and walk off with it flumped over their back. So I thought that was pretty interesting. So I've lost 2 deer this year. So that's how my hunting seasons went.
So I bought me a crossbow this year, and I know there's lots of debate about it. I've always been a compound hunter, and I was like, I'm not crossbowing, that's cheating. But I went crossbow route this year just because my time was going to be extremely limited during bow season because of the October fall outage we have at work.
Right.
And I felt like my chances were increased by taking the crossbow.
Right.
But let me tell you what, Ryan. And you have a crossbow?
Yep.
I was going to say, my son came up for Thanksgiving last week. He said, I don't want to shoot that crossbow. I said, boy, I'm telling you, you shoot this thing, you're going to run down the store and buy you one.
Yep.
So,
Guaranteed. I love mine.
yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. I can sit there instead of being in a tree stand or in a blind, having to grab the bow, sneak it up there, and draw back and wait and wait and wait. And sometimes it's just forever, right? And then maybe they'll never ever get the shot. All right. You got all this movement and wait time and everything. Whenever I can just get to the stand, cock a crossbow back, put it up on the bipods that I got, and wait for one to come in. And when it comes in, fire away. It's a lot easier, Again, there's a lot of debate about it. My thing is, it's still hunting. It's still a challenge. That arrow going through flight is still having the same type of challenges that a normal arrow coming out of a bow has. The only difference is mine was pre-cocked and I shot it, and yours had to be pulled back to shoot. That's the only difference. It's kind of like talking about muzzleloaded hunting and rifle hunting. Yeah, they're the same thing, but they're different. But they still have the effects of the bullet. You know what I mean? That are hindered by several different things. So
yeah. So first few days of bow season, I got to hunt the first few days before my outage started, and I passed on a tiny doe on the first day. She was smaller. I only wanted to kill a mature doe. I did want to shoot a doe though, because I'll tell you why. Because all the research I did on, I never shot crossbows before. All the research I did on them, everybody on YouTube that's big into crossbows suggests that don't wait for that big buck to come through there. You better shoot the first deer you get opportunity to shoot, because when that big buck does come, you want to know your weapon.
Right.
So I was like, okay. Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm going to take a doe. But first day, only opportunity I got was a tiny doe, and I didn't want to take her. And then the next day, two bigger doe came in on me, and they were I was a little bit uncomfortable with the shot they gave me. And they kind of turned and would come down like beside my stand where my trail camera was at. And I was like, that's perfect. That's right where I want you anyway. And they didn't come down there. They kind of just made a U-turn and went back up the hollow. So that was 2 days of missed opportunities.
So how much longer do you guys got? Because we got until December 31st. And then after December 31st, January 1st opens up our heritage season, where we can hunt with a flintlock or percussion cap or recurve or longbows.
Our general firearms season right now is what everybody calls rifle season, but by the Game Commission, it's general firearms was called, and that's because you can use any legal method,
Okay.
And it goes out this Saturday is the last day, and then after that, I think bear season might be in, but I don't bear hunt, so I'm not worried about that. And I think the following Monday, bow season comes back in. And then a week after that, the late muzzleloading season comes back in for the rest of the year. I think it goes out January 2nd.
Okay. And then there's no hunting in January down there?
I think there might be, I'm not sure when bear season ends. I've never been a bear hunter. There might be some type of squirrel season till the end of January, maybe. I don't know.
How to bring the dogs down there? If you know where some bears are, bring the dogs down there and put the dogs on them.
Well, I know where some bears are because you won't leave them stand.
Well, I can bring the dogs down there and we'll put them dogs on him and bay him up, man. We'll kill him. Because I'm telling you what, Valkyrie and Loki, they them two are nuts on stuff like that.
Yeah, I tell you what, and it might make some enemies here, but I don't like bear being hunted that way. I think it's unethical and it's not fair chase. But that being said, I don't care what people do. You do
right.
But I just choose not to do that.
I understand. I just it's just like to me, it's no different than chasing rabbit or a coon. You know what I mean? I've been raised around that pretty much my whole life, though. Hound hunting of some sort.
Yeah, it's big here. I mean, when they start running the bear with the dogs, the roads in front of our house between here and going to town will be packed full of trucks and dogs and hunters.
Really?
Yeah,
There's
it's
not
big.
many. There's not many of us here around here. There ain't many people that do that. There ain't many people put them on a hog either. Hey, somebody let her in, so she ain't scratching door all pieces. Yeah, but yeah, there's a lot of different things out there that I'm not familiar with, and I think that gives me a way I look at it, like, I don't know if I'd like that or not. You know what I mean? So,
Well, like I said, I'm not saying it.
right.
I don't care what other people do. It's just not for me.
Right. But you're right. You know that it does give us the upper hand. I do know that.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
Yeah, no,
in Eastern Virginia, they hunt deer with dogs.
I seen that. I did see that, and see, now that's one of the things that I'm kind of like, like, and the reason why I say that is a deer gets muscle bound real fast. You know, they can run fast for short distances. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they'll get muscle bound, and that's why coyotes kill them and stuff. I don't, but again, I've never went deer hunting with a dog, so I can't really speak to it. But that's one of the things where I'm kind of like, maybe I draw the line there. But it's the same way with anything else. It's all about what we like to do and stuff, and that's fair for everybody.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah,
but I think hunting deer with dogs west of the Blue Ridge might be illegal. Right. If Paul Jarris jumps in here, he'll know because he's into that stuff. Am I supposed to click on join the chat down here?
You can, I guess, if you. I don't really know, to be honest with you. But have you why don't you wait for him to come in then if he won't leave a stand and get him? Have you ever ate bear meat?
I have had it one time, long time ago.
Like there's only one way I really like it, and that's whenever somebody's put it in a crock pot and crock potted it. I ain't never found no other way. I like to eat it. It don't taste right, but
I had it canned. I think is the guy that made it for me. And he's a big bear hunter. And I think it was canned bear meat. Right. It was kind of like barbecue style.
Yeah. So some of it like that's good, man. But I've had some. I'm just like, I don't know, man. And that's a whole lot of the reason why I don't kill many of them or really go hunting that much for them. I don't like. I think if I'm gonna kill it, I better eat it. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Well, I will say this. So last year, I'm 50 years old. Last year, and last year was the first time in my life that I saw a bear while hunting in the woods. I've seen them cross the road. I've seen them at people's houses. I've seen them on walking trails and stuff like that, like up at the lake. But last year it was opposite ridge of me, so they weren't really close to me. They were a good ways off. This year, that guy came in my stand every other day, the first week of muzzleloading and during bow season, and just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there. It would not leave. I'll put that one video on Facebook of me trying to run him off. Yeah, because
you were yelling at him.
It's dusk and the deer are supposed to be coming through here right now, so you got to go.
Right. Yeah, I remember seeing that you were yelling at him.
Yeah, so that one spot where he's sitting at where I'm yelling at him, it's kind of like my preferred spot for a deer to be, especially with the bow. It's right at 12 yards or so. That's the closest I've ever been to it, which was really cool for me. I was like, this is cool. Plus, it gave me a lot of confidence in my tree stand location because he had no clue where I was. He was that close to me.
Here's the thing, though. Bear don't see very good. They got a really good nose, but they don't see very good.
Well, when when you watch that video, when I'm yelling at him, trying to run him off, he's looking around trying to find me, but he's like, he had no clue.
Right.
He just kept looking up, and he didn't see nothing in front of him, but he wasn't looking up at me,
Right. Yeah, they don't see good at all, man. But man, their nose. I have seen people bring them in from a long ways off. Like it was probably back in 2016. We were having this debate, how far a bear can smell and stuff. And then one of these hunters, they were like, well, they can smell a really long way. I know they can, and I was like, maybe a quarter mile. I was like, I ain't believing this real long distance. He said, okay. He said, I'll tell you what. He said, I got a bear that, he comes into it, not that he was baiting them to kill them, right? He was baiting them in to keep them in the area. So when he run his dogs in the summer, there was bear in the area he could run them on just to train his dogs and stuff with. So he was just feeding them and stuff, and they were eating the other stuff. Deer was eating stuff too. But anyways, he had this bear, and he said, "I tell you what," he said, "I'll take a picture of this bear. Exactly what you couldn't miss it. He had a big white patch on his chest, kind of looked like a Batman emblem almost, right?" And anyways, he said, "I'll take a picture of that bear broadside, front side, because all the pictures he had in the game cameras just looked like a black bear." He said, "I'll make sure I get a picture of it." He was like, "And we'll go down 2 miles away." And he was like, "I'll dump the same old scrap stuff that he'd been getting from this pastry place." He said, "I'll dump that same stuff out 2 miles away from where I'm dumping it at now, and guarantee that bear will show up that evening." So he dumps that stuff out that morning, 2 miles away, different. And I stayed with him 2 miles away, dumps it. Later on that evening, here comes that bear with that daggone Batman looking chest on him. And I said, "I'll be dang." He said, "I told you they smell from a long ways away." I think maybe, just maybe, that bear was maybe in between. You know what I mean? Like maybe where he was going to before was the furthest distance out at 2 miles, and he went this way, and somewhere in between is where that bear stayed. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I think, but maybe not.
So Jeanette says up in Canada, it's not legal to let dogs chase any wild animal. So
Right.
So let's go through it, Ron. So we got bear, fox, birds, quail, ducks.
Right.
Well, okay. So I guess they don't chase ducks; they just retrieve ducks, but they do flush quail out, right?
Yep, flush quail and pheasants
and raccoons,
squirrels.
Oh, really? Squirrel? Okay.
Yep.
So I'm just talking about Virginia here. I know down south they hunt pigs with pit bulls. Have you ever seen that?
Well, actually, all right. So pit bulls, because I used to breed them, and me and Annie been talking. I want to start breeding them again. Here's why. I used to do that, and I like it. I like it a lot. But we didn't really let the dogs go and hunt them. So you had catahoulas, which is what I got now, and you had walkers and other things. They would go and smell them pigs up, bay them up, right? And then I'm getting a lot of feedback. You getting any feedback?
It sounds like the echo.
Okay. So anyways, I was
turn my volume down a little bit.
It might be my stuff. Just
might see that helps.
All right. Yeah, I think it did. All right. So anyways, we'd take the pit bulls and we would keep them with us. And then when they would get bayed up, when they would bay up a hog, we'd get up close and we'd turn them pit bulls loose. And the pit bulls was catch dogs, and they would go in there and grab them on the nose and the ears and pin them down. You can walk in there with a knife and polish the hog off. And it's a lot of fun. So I told Annie, I said, we ought to get into breeding pit bulls again. And now we got catahoulas. We can breed pit bulls and catahoulas and sell them as teams. I can train them up and sell teams of dogs. You got your baying dogs for your catahoulas, and you got your catch dogs for your pit bulls, and you got a whole team worth of ready to go for hunting hogs. So I don't know. It won't be anytime soon.
You're talking about with the dog pinning them down and you sticking them. I would probably be okay with that. But I've seen videos where they unleash these dogs on these pigs, and these dogs go in there and rip those pigs to shred. And I'm a pig owner and a pig
no.
Yeah, no. That just broke my heart, man.
No. I don't agree with that, man. No, like there's a guy down I think Georgia or Florida one, and he takes rescue catahoulas and stuff like that, and everything, and he'll train them up and turn them into hog dogs. But nah, man, if I'd ever been with somebody to try that or anything, I wouldn't go for that, man. I mean, you go in there and do your thing, pin them down.
So Jason says that's what they were bred for, and I hear that all the time here. Every time I get my bear hunting with dogs is unfair story. I always get that from the bear hunters. And again, I'm okay with what you do. It's just not my thing. I understand that's what the dog was bred for, and the dog enjoys it and loves it. But my
They
issue,
do.
my
You got to
issue is
call them
20
off.
dogs chasing the bear. And when those 20 dogs get tired, they pack them up in the truck and get 20 more dogs out. To me, that's not fair chase and it's not ethical. I think a couple of dogs on a bear, I would probably be just fine with, but not 20 dogs.
Yeah.
And again, that's just me. I don't care what anybody else does.
Right.
You do what you like, but it's not for me.
I think there's a lot of things that get shown on the internet that are kind of misleading. I know around here, most guys put five dogs out. You know what I mean? That's about it. Now there are guys who would, put a bunch of them out there, but most time they're not putting a whole bunch of them on them. Maybe 5, and the only reason why they put 5 is for the protection of the dogs. Because if you only get 2, a bear will whoop the crap out of 2 dogs.
I get that. I get that too.
So if you surround them with 5 of them, the bear has to continuously turn, and then that's what makes them go up the tree or in a den hole. But I don't think I'd want 20 dogs on them, man. That's you're trying to. You think about it. You get 20 dogs out there, you try to call all them off. I mean, you're just asking for trouble. I mean, I don't think I could call off 20 dogs if I had 20 out there on them.
Well,
I mean, because they're just they have this thing where if one keeps going, it just makes the others keep going. But and you got to call your leader ones off, and 20 of them seems a little bit much.
We've seen that with our house dogs. From time to time they'll get in a scuffle or a fight. And the one dog that never fights anybody will always join in because that's what's going on.
Yep, exactly. Yep, that's exactly what happens. So,
hey,
but I tell you,
check this out.
What is that? Oh wow, all the pumpkins. That's crazy.
That's why I'm bundled up in here. We got the heat off in the room, so these pumpkins will last all winter long. Don't get cooked in here. Or a pumpkin donation box out there, man. I think we got more this year than we've ever gotten.
Yeah, I seen you made a post
full of pumpkins.
I seen you made a post earlier, and said that you got another load of them. That's great, man.
Yeah,
it's really
getting
good.
Ready to cut it off. I was like, I really appreciate how much people give us, but we just can't handle it anymore, man.
Oh, you better take all you get.
I can't believe how awesome the response was.
It is nice, man. It's nice. And then you got something to feed the pigs. It kind of helps save you guys money, but also at the same time, nothing's going to waste. And that's what I like most. Yeah. Nothing's going to waste.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. That's how we built it last year was we said, how did we word that? Don't throw away, donate. I think is what we did, what we said.
Right. So how many pounds you think you got there all together now?
Pounds?
Yeah. Like how many pounds of pumpkin do you think you got there?
I don't know, man. Just in this one room alone, this is more than the truckload full. And we got another truckload in the other bedroom over there.
That's crazy.
I mean, it's a lot.
That's crazy.
I don't know. Some of them are, I'd say most of these real big ones are in the 20-pound range.
Right.
About the size of the one West Virginia State Fair. So just counting so just that, saying that, there's 100 pounds sitting right here behind me, just in this corner of the floor right here. So there's 500 pounds of pumpkin just in this room.
That's funny. So how long do you think that'll last?
Last year, I want to say they lasted all the way up into April. As long as you keep the room cool and you don't let them touch, you keep them separated and let the airflow around them, they'll last forever, man. And we come in here and pick up like these two right here. See, this one right here is already starting to go down. So, we got it over here on the edge, and it'll be one of the first to go. So we kind of keep an eye on them and take the bad ones first.
Wouldn't it be nice, though, if we could get a way to keep Atlantic Giants that long?
Yeah. Yep.
I'd be happy, man. That'd be too cool. So what else you got going on down there?
I wanted to, do you use cover scents when you hunt?
Yeah. Sometimes, not all the time.
All right. So I've never ever used cover scents, right? I've always, we grew up in a day and age where you didn't even wear camouflage. You wore jeans and a big, thick, red,
Flannel.
black flannel jacket.
Right. Right.
And, our grandparents and our uncles and our parents told us to go hunting. You sit down and you be quiet and you don't move. You
Right.
don't need cover scents. And I've always thought over the years, these cover scents are all about just making money, gimmick stuff to make people make money. Well, that bear came in one day. I watched him sniff me out. He got by me by a few yards and he sniffed up in there and he walked a little more and sniffed up in there. So he turned around and left, went right back to the path he came. So the next day I'm at the second worst store on the planet Earth. And while I'm there, I was like, you know what? I'm going to try some cover scent. So I picked up some cover scent and gave it a try. But I wanted to see what you guys saw about. So I took the label off of it because I don't want a product bash or anything because I don't know much about these.
It's dead downwind.
The product name?
Ain't that what that is? Dead downwind?
Let's see here. No, that's not the name of this product.
Okay.
Is Downwind in a black bottle?
Sometimes most time they're in orange bottles, but sometimes they put stuff out in a black bottle. I've seen.
Okay. All right. Well, say I didn't want to product bash or anything. I just found a few things. So before I used it, I read this bottle, and I found a few things really funny or interesting. And it says here, let's see, it's the first and only product to completely remove an animal's sense of threatening odors. Okay. Our patented formula relaxes the area of the nose responsible for detecting odors, temporarily shutting down an animal's sense of smell. When an animal gets this product in their nose, they won't be able to smell anything else, guaranteed. So, and then it goes on to say, ingredients are safe for skin, clothing, and environment. So my very first question is, if this thing gets in your nose and prevents you from smelling anything, how can it possibly be safe for your skin, clothing, or environment?
Right. Well, I know exactly who that is now. Just by you reading that now, I know exactly who that is.
Okay.
Yeah. It's
the other thing that I thought was really odd, and so people can weigh in on what they think about these things. Again, this is my first year using it, and since I watched the bears sniff me out, I started using them. Coincidentally, I haven't seen any deer since I started using them. I think this stuff smells like Armor All. It distinctly smells like Armor All. I sat up in a tree stand for a whole week trying to figure out, what does this thing smell like? What does it smell like? It definitely smelled like something. I couldn't put my finger on it. And I finally figured it out. Armor All. All right, I'll get back to Jason's comment here in a second because I almost did that. Okay, but the other thing that I wanted to, so I know science is a great thing, but how do they really know that when an animal gets this in their nose, they can't smell anything? Okay, I know science is a great thing, but how do they really know? Is it like we tried this on 10 deer and we surveyed them? I mean, wouldn't that be a great slogan to sell it? 9 out of 10 deer said they couldn't smell a thing.
Okay, so here's my favorite thing about having a pet. I can't call it that. Here's my favorite thing about having a wild deer that just happens to come by and chill with me every once in a while. I learned a lot from her. So I can spray myself from head to toe with cover scent. Okay, go set in my blind. The other deer around you, you know how sometimes you'll get down there and they won't act like there's a care in the world, right? And then all of a sudden they start looking around, they start acting real cautious, and you think that because they didn't come in cautious to begin with, that they don't smell you, that it's something else. The fact of the matter is the wind did something crazy, shifted, and you didn't know, and they smell you. Here's how I know. I can spray from head to toe with any of that stuff, okay? And I mean head to toe. Take a shower in that same stuff, spray myself, wash my clothes in it, dry my clothes in it, all in either dead downwind or scent away 90, like the golden one and the regular one. Well, anyhow, baby comes in, and as soon as she comes in, nose goes up like this. She does like this and looks dead through the blind at me. And the only reason why she didn't come put her nose in the blind and hang out is because there's a screen there that she can't see through. But she knew exactly. She said, he's in there. Her ears went out like this, and she walked doing like this all the way up to the tree there and started doing like this, trying to see in there. And she couldn't see in. She knew my smell. Even through all that other crap, she knew I was in there. She could still smell me because she knows what I smell like. She's lived with us for a year, well, over a year. So if she can smell me with all that crap on, surely to God, the rest of them smell me. So when they don't come in, here's what I've observed this year. Because I used to think when they came in and they acted like they didn't have a care in the world that I was good. And the only reason why they spooked was because something dropped or, they smelled something else. It wasn't me. And all reality is the wind shifts and they smell me. They get that whiff of me and they alert and they get cautious all of a sudden and they start looking around. And the longer they're there, their senses are heightened and they just say, hey, you know what? Something's here I don't like, and they take off. So all this scent away stuff, after this year, I'm not going to use it anymore because I believe it's a total gimmick that is just full of the hunting industry's greed and everybody that's in it that promotes it. I guarantee you they have experienced the same thing I'm talking about and know it. There's no way that Lee Lukoski and Tiffany Lukoski on their farm have not almost ran over a baby deer and bottle fed that thing on their farm, raised that deer up to know who they are, and seen the exact same things I've seen. There's no way that these deer farmers have not experienced the same thing out west or wherever they got deer farms at, right? So that tells you that they're promoting products, in my mind. I could be wrong, but in my mind, it seems like they promote products that they know are just gimmicks, but right. Who's there to say different, right? So, I mean, I really think Jason said it right there. Charcoal-based soaps, and shampoos and washing powders and stuff like that. That is a way to do it. If you guys remember, Scentaway clothing used to have charcoal barriers in it to kind of help filter your smell and stuff. So, But what do you think?
I was going to mention when he talked about charcoal, I used to work down at the carbon plant at the facility where I work at now. Is split into two different companies now, but they have carbon plant down there that makes charcoal. They call it carbon, but it's charcoal, and that's the exact types of products they made. So anyway, they get a bunch of it on the floor and go to waste, and they usually vacuum it up and sell it to companies for stuff like that. And I would always grab a jar of that and keep it in my vehicle and to absorb the odors out of my vehicle.
Right.
It works.
It does work. It does.
So along with what you were saying, and I think Catherine says here, deer are very intelligent animals. And the point I want to make, the very first thing I thought about when I read the instructions on this scent spray was it goes into their nose and blocks them from smelling anything else. So let's imagine that you're a buck walking down the trail, sniffing out your dinner, trying to find some acorns, and all of a sudden you can't smell anything. Does that not throw up a huge red flag to that animal? That's the very first thing I thought of. If it was me, I'd be like, wait a minute, I can't smell anything. Something's not right.
Right.
I got to get out of here.
Right. One minute I was smelling acorns, and the next minute my nose just quit working like I got COVID-19. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like,
something ain't right. It's not for me to turn around and leave.
Well, here's the other thing. What if he was sniffing out a doe in estrus, and then all of a sudden it's like she grew wings and flew away like Pegasus, right? Like just nowhere to be found. Like, where did you go, dear? Like
you just couldn't smell anything anymore.
right.
So Jason says rub up against the goat. I want to know if is that for real? Because I have lots of goats.
That really works. So my buck out here, right? Because he stinks to high heaven right now. Like the past month, I go out there and I go out there and I'd pet him under the neck and I'd talk to him and, and have fun with him. And I'm sitting there petting him and talking to him and stuff. And I start feeling something hit my leg and my pants. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm like, what's hitting me? Like, cause you can feel him in spurts. Right. And I look down and he's peeing on me. And I was like, I look back up and he's going like this with his lips all flapped up, top and bottom, and like laughing at me, right? And he just keeps peeing all over me. So I'm like, what in the world, dude? Like, so anyways, went down there. And I've always noticed that Baby and the other one that runs with her, like if you're around the goats, that other one is really, really comfortable around you. Like she almost pays no mind to you at all. And so I was like, well, I mean, he stinks real bad. So I just went over and grabbed him by the head and did a little bit of this and a little bit of that and put him all up in my chest and rubbed his beard all up on me and stuff. And I mean, he stinks really bad. So it don't take much, but you have to be willing to sit there the rest of that hunt and smell like that goat because it is rank, like bad rank.
I'll remember that Friday. I might take me a goat bath before I walk up in the woods Friday.
Yeah, just don't do this because I did. I grabbed his beard where he peed the most at, and I went like this in my beard. Bad idea. Bad idea. Do not do that. Yeah, that is a horrible idea, man. Horrible.
Yeah, I can't imagine that.
The doe don't stink, though, Jason.
You talking about the doe deer? See, there's a problem with that. Is I ain't got no doe deer.
Oh, you don't got no doe?
He's talking about a doe goat.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We got two others. They're both boys.
I tried to catch Baby squatting and peeing because my neighbor told me he come over and said, hey, the other day there was a buck on camera chasing Baby through the field hot after. And then about a day or two later, he come over and said, I think Baby ain't a baby no more. And I said, yeah. He said, yeah. I said, I believe that buck got her. And I said, well, good. But I was trying to get after her because it used to be she'd just come in the yard and squat and pee. And if I would have been thinking about it back in, I could have followed her with a cup and caught all kinds of pee. So I wanted to do it this year, but just past couple of weeks. But
wouldn't it be cool if she comes back to your yard and has her baby?
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. She comes all the time up here, but now during the wintertime last year, she took off, man. She was gone. Gosh, till like the end of May, beginning of June, she was gone. Then she showed up. She's been here every day since. But I'm kind of thinking probably, as winter gets on, that herd will move out probably about January like they did last year. I don't know where they go to, but they ain't staying around here. And they move out, and then it's a while before they come back in, around here. So, yeah, it would be cool though if she comes back and has them here in the yard because they'd be a lot safer here than they would be anywhere else. I know that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think it's so much fun, man. That a lot of people they're like, how in the world do you bring yourself to hunt them and have it? It's different. Yeah, it's different. This is there's a big distinguishment between her and the ones that are out there. The ones that are out there, they're wild as all get out. She's not wild, so there's no chase to it. You know what I mean? It's like going out there and petting the pig or the goat. She's not fair game for anything. So we got a big bunch of stuff around her neck to keep her marked out, make sure nobody shoots her. And I think she's done become everybody's pet around here. She goes there, everybody and eats out of their bird feeders and everything else. So
I couldn't have something like that where I live because it'd go to the neighbor's house and out here, kaboom.
Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, my neighbors are pretty good.
Man.
Yeah, that would suck, man. I'd be pretty upset, man, if one did that to her. I would be. Yeah. But Fox P is a good drag cover deer. Yeah, Fox P does good. But it also stinks to high heaven.
I was gonna say.
So, what else? What else you?
They were giving us all the problems with the chickens, and yeah, they just smell horrible. It smells like a cat. My nose is itching for some reason. I wonder what that means.
Right. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I do know
Does
about
that
that
mean
about fox
you're gonna
because
get money?
they're
Does
tricky,
that
man. When I
mean
was trapping them foxes, I had my game camera out there, and you could watch them tiptoe around them traps and take that bait.
Yep, there's fox are very, very, very smart. I tell you what, the best way that I found to trap a fox: get you a piece of shingle, right, and trace it out the shape of the pan. Okay, maybe just a little bit bigger, maybe like a quarter inch bigger than the shape of the pan, and set that trap about 10 inches back off the bait hole, and after you get the trap set that piece of shingle down on that pan. Cover that entire pan up, just like you would if you were, doing it for, trapping. Um, but you don't, cover the jaws up and stuff, but you don't cover up that piece of shingle because they like to step on rocks, and they look at that shingle and they think it's a rock, and they'll step on it thinking it's a rock, and you catch them. Yeah, they love hard stuff, rocks and stuff. They'll step on them a lot because they know it's solid. So you put one of them on there. An old man told me that back in I think it was 2015 when he told me that. I was on a trapping page trying to figure out how to catch foxes. I was covered up in fox down deep water, and I couldn't catch none of them. And I was getting frustrated with it, and he called me. He lived out in Oklahoma. He seen that. He said, hey, PM me your phone number, and I'll call you. I called him, and man, he had me talk more in a matter of a month and a half than I ever learned from anybody trapping in person, man. He was over the phone. Sadly, he ended up passing away back in, I think, 2019 or 2020. But real good old feller, man. Taught me a whole lot about trapping. And when he told me that about fox, at first I thought he was joking with me, you know what I mean, just pulling my chain. And he said, I'm telling you now, son, that right there, he said, and bacon grease with cat food. He said, give it bacon grease and cat food. He said, you'll catch more fox with them two combinations right there, bacon grease, cat food, and a daggone piece of shingle over the pan than you will anything else. So,
Cool.
And it worked out. I caught a pile of them like that.
So, just Eric Hale says that what's crazy is after deer season, you see big herds of them in the fields. And I've always told this to my boys as they were growing up learning to hunt, is that it's in a deer's DNA. They know when the leaves start falling, they beware. When the when the leaves start changing, now they start to beware.
Right.
When the leaves start falling and the acorns start falling, now they know. They know man's coming for them because they've been doing it for 100 years. It's in their DNA, man. Yeah, and as soon as they get through this period, I mean, he's right. I'll drive down the road to go to work, and those big soy pastures down there, they'll be full of 500 deer. But there's not right now because they're cautious. They're too cautious right now.
Right, and you're right, man. You can watch a deer like we watch baby's behavior change. She was fine all summer. You could grab her head, you could pet her neck, you could grab her and rub her belly and rub her back and everything. And as soon as them leaves started to change, if a leaf fell, she jumped. Just by seeing the leaf fall, she would jump back. You know what I mean? Any little movement. We watched a butterfly land on her nose one day, and she was sitting there doing like this, like Bambi, right? Just trying to eat it off the end of her nose. Daggone, a couple months later, when the leaves start falling, dragonfly comes flying there and tries to land on her nose, and buddy, she about had a fit. You know, like what are you? Yeah, they absolutely.
Those are the two key indicators. The leaves change, and then they start falling, and they know man's coming. They know man's stomping in the woods and going to try and wipe them out like he did the buffalo.
Right, because you can't just take one, or two.
Yeah.
You got to take the whole dag herd of them.
I can't take any, apparently.
Right, yeah, me neither. Like I said, we're gatherers. We'll be stuck to tree bark and roots and all that other garbage. So be making little deadfall traps for mice like on a loan.
Yeah, so I spent a lot of time in that tree stand this year. Probably way more than my wife wants me to. Matter of fact, I woke up late one day that I was planning on hunting the full day. And she elbowed me and said, aren't you going to go hunting? And I looked up and it was 6:17 in the morning. I looked out the window and it was starting to get daylight. Man, I got to give her a lot of credit because I wouldn't have blamed her one bit if she just let me lay there and sleep and then be like, get up at 8 o'clock. It's time to feed the pigs. What? I was supposed to go hunting. I wouldn't have said a word because she puts up with a lot of me being up there more than I am down here. But, with all these, it's been a month now, a little bit over a month, and didn't get a single deer. But I think every single minute I sat in that tree, and there's just something about it, man. It's just, I read a poem the other day that Robert Frost wrote, and I didn't even know that Robert Frost wrote stuff like this. And it said, it was something to do with nature and putting man in balance. And I can't remember it word for word. I can't remember it at all, really. But that's what I thought about. I was like, yeah, you know what? I was sitting up there in that tree, and I got a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff stresses you out, and a lot of stuff is on your mind for things that you're behind on, or things you have to do at work, or whatever else. It's like it all goes away in that tree, man. It's like just can't even explain it. So. Yeah, there's no game down here. I'm not going to get to make any buckskin leather like I wanted to unless this weekend goes really well. And, the deer bacon I wanted to make this year is probably not going to happen. And no turkey, but, and that's okay. Those things there'll be more chances to do those.
You might get out there this weekend and smash one. You never know. You just never know.
Yeah, you never know. Yeah, I mean, there's still a couple days left, so not giving up yet.
There you go.
The other thing too is doe day for us is this coming Saturday, and I hate shooting late season does because we should be pretty much through the rut by this weekend, and they should be bred. And you shoot late season does, you just take future bucks off the table. So. It'll be a game time decision.
You might take some does off the table, bucks off the table, but the percentage of does and bucks here in West Virginia are so high that especially the birth rate of them, like I can tell you right now, out of 4 does I know had young, all 4 had twin does. That's a lot more does than it just keeps every year. It just keeps getting more and more and more like that here.
Yeah, well, it's probably similar here. It's like as far as I'm talking about down the road. I ain't kidding you when I say there's 500 deer in that field at 5 o'clock in the evening. It's every bit of 500 deer, and
that's
ain't no bucks
crazy.
Unless there's button bucks mixed in the bunch of them. But
right.
There's no horns out there in that field at all.
Right, and I would like to see a study done to see the birth rate of buck doe ratio. I would like to see that done because it seems to me that deer have way more doe than they have bucks, and then we open up buck season. Everybody tries to take one with a bow. Here, let's count this here. If you took your limit, per season, you can get 2 with a bow. You got to have an extra stamp, but you can get up to 2 with a bow. So there's potential of 2 bucks, potential of 2 more bucks. Actually, I think 3 in some counties with a rifle, 2 more for muzzleloader. All right. And then 2 more for, I think, for traditional. So, some counties have it wrote to where if you kill a buck, you must kill a doe before you can kill another buck. But still yet, you think about how many bucks people take a year. I know I've seen in some of these Facebook groups I'm in for West Virginia, deer hunting whitetails. You got some of these guys, they've already took, 3 or 4 bucks this year, and yeah, they're big, nice bucks, but how many can you take out of an area before you don't have any? And then you're looking for another place to go take another 4 or 5 out of for however long that goes on. There's not much management,
Yeah, I agree with that. Well, that's what I say about the area I hunt in all the time. When people say, Oh, I wouldn't have shot that buck, or I wouldn't have shot that 6-pointer. He's young, too young. Well, I don't have that choice here because I'm right up against a whole bunch of other landowners who are hunting,
Right.
and attached to a whole bunch of the national forest that's heavily hunted. And you don't let them walk, because you let them walk, they go to the next property, they get shot.
Yep.
I would love to own me 150 acres where I could manage the deer population and grow them into nice monster trophy bucks, but it's not going to happen.
Right. Well, I mean, I was always raised, the horns, you can only bull the horns all you want. You can't eat them. So everybody talks about, we kill it for meat or whatever. But, a lot of these guys that, like, if, it doesn't matter to me if you kill it, what you kill, if it makes you happy, do it. You know what I mean? If it puts food on the table, great. But what aggravates me is you got these guys who are trophy hunters, and they'll go to an area, they'll lease the area, they'll get these bucks that are really big, they'll kill them, 3, 4 in a year. If they can, they'll kill that many, right? And then they'll go on and say, well, y'all need better buck management. Well, no, because what they do is they'll kill out so many in that property, and they go look for another property to lease with big bucks in it, and they'll do that to that land, and they just keep on going. What needs to happen is you need to practice what you preach and actually be a steward of the land and not take 3 to 4 big bucks out of that area every year just because you can. You know what I mean? And limit, have some restraint and limit yourself to 1 or whatever, because if everybody did that, you think about how fast the buck population would grow in an area, and how, and get that buck to doe ratio back to, pretty good balance, and then, you would do pretty fair then every year.
I was seeing a good amount of does earlier in the season, and Kelly had even asked me, I come home every day from the tree stand or get down to the house. I just come home. Sounds like I'm coming home from work, but I'm just
right
15 minutes up the hill. And she's like, well, you don't want to kill doe? I was like, well, number one, doe's not in season. You don't kill does on certain days, which I'll talk about here in a second. And number two is that, I forgot what my number 2 point was going to be, but yeah, I mean, she's right. The things that I want to do with deer, I don't need horns, but I'm required by the rules of the game in my state that I can only shoot does on certain days. So what I wanted to say about that was that I certainly wish they would change that. Like in my portion of the state, you can kill 2 bucks and 1 doe. I think on the eastern portion of the state, you can kill 5 deer, which is 3 bucks, and you have to take 2 does. You have to earn your bucks, like you were talking about. After you first, you have to start taking does, or you can't get another buck.
Right.
But in my county, you can do all 3 of yours. You don't have to check in a doe to get your second buck. You can get both your bucks in any season you want to hunt in, but you can't get a third one. But see, they give you this doe tag, but they extremely limit the days you can kill does on. They limit it to private landowners in early muzzleloading season, so you can't even shoot them on national forest at all. And now in bow season, they're open all during bow season, all right. But not many people bow hunt. You don't take that many during bow season. Rifle season, same way. So rifle season, middle of rifle season, you get 1 day on private land in the middle of rifle season. Again, not on national forest. And then the last day of rifle season is the only day that does can be taken on national forest outside of bow season. The only day of the whole year.
That's crazy.
And I just think that's ridiculous.
One day out of the whole year.
We moved up here to this house from where we used to live in town. It's been 5 years now. I hit 5 deer with my vehicle. That's done a lot of damage to it. It cost me a lot of money over the years.
Right.
I don't understand why they give you 1 day to harvest your doe. They give everybody a doe tag that they want you to use, but only give you 1 day to use it. I think you should be able to take that doe tag anytime. You can only have 1. You can't check in 2 antlerless. And so what's the big deal? If you kill it next Saturday, if you killed it a month ago,
right?
Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, that's how it should be. Have you ever called to try to ask them about that? Like why that law is like that?
I haven't. Well, see, it's different for different Virginia. a lot of states are like this. The law is the law across the board, but in Virginia, it's split up by county. Like
That's how
my
ours
county,
is.
what's that?
Ours is split up by county.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where I'm at, we're split up. We're like 4 counties that have the different game laws or different season regulations than the counties right next door to us. And then when you
Yep.
get on the east of the Blue Ridge, they're totally different than anything that's on the west of the Blue Ridge. And,
We
and I
actually
get
have
it to a degree because east of the Blue Ridge, you start getting into the highly populated cities, and they don't want deer running around the cities, so they try and make sure that that doesn't happen. But that doesn't help me when I'm driving to work in the morning and hit not one but 2 deer on my way to work and cost me
Right.
$5,000 damage to my car.
right. Well, like here we have highways that you like. If you hunt on the east side of 19, you can kill all the does you want. But if you get on the west side of it, which is just across the road, you can't kill any of the does. Like there's weird rules like that over here, man, and it don't make any sense. Like them you tell me them deer don't cross the road here all the time from east to west. I see them dead along the road all the time. They're crossing the road. What does it matter if I'm over here or over there? The same doe that's over there today will be over here tomorrow.
And so Mark's asking if there are any way to salvage meat on a deer you hit with your vehicle. And that obviously, number one, depends on speed.
Yep. Like how bad bloodshot it
the
is.
pulpwood trucks that go through here just obliterate them.
Yep.
And
boom, actually blow them out.
Yeah. But like the ones that I hit with my vehicle, I think one of them probably could have been salvageable for me. Yeah. But the rest of them probably not. Those were pretty violent hits at around 65 miles an hour.
Him in that big truck?
Not the one I have now, the one that I had before this truck.
Okay.
Luckily, this truck hasn't contacted a deer. And I hope it stays that way.
You better buy a brush guard for it just in case.
Yeah, I thought about that.
I've seen them. I've seen them get hit with ones with brush guards, and they fare pretty well compared to ones without them.
You mean the truck does?
Yeah.
The deer probably doesn't. I mean, to Mark's question on that, yeah, I think a brush guard would probably take that deer out of play for any salvageable meat.
Yep. Yeah, because Annie, we had just got the truck we got now, hadn't had it like a month, and Annie calls me, goes, oh. I said, what? She said, I hit a deer with the truck. I said, that's all right. That's what insurance is for. Yeah. I said, you okay? Oh, yeah. I said, all right. She's like, I thought you were going to be mad. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
You can't do nothing about it.
What it is, man. You can't control that.
No. As much as you'd like to. Like, I catch myself talking to them. I'll go past them, right? And they'll be standing in the ditch line looking, like I'm getting ready. And like, don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Like, my son's like, they don't understand that, Dad.
Yeah, the one thing. Yeah, but you always do it, though.
Yeah.
Stay there. Stay there.
Yeah, exactly.
One thing I always taught the kids when they learn to drive is do not try and miss them.
Nope,
if they jump out from them, run over them, because the worst thing you can do is swerve off the road. And now, next thing you know, you rolled your car down an embankment or something. They ain't worth all that.
Nope. We came home a couple weekends ago from my dad's, and we were coming off White Oak Mountain. Oh, man, sorry. Which is right here behind the house. The real big mountain that you can see behind my house. And we were coming down it, and there was lights up on the bank. I said, what in the world? And this guy was standing there out of a car on the hood of another car. And I said, y'all all right? And he's like, yeah. And he said, deer jumped out in front of me. I swerved to miss it, got over here in the leaves, and the leaves just kept dragging me on it and over the hill there. He about did flip it. He was on a bank like this. If it had kept going, it would have flipped over. So, yeah, just truck them suckers, go right through them, man, because there ain't no need to try to swerve and miss them, because you'll do more damage and hurt yourself more than we'll hitting one of them.
Yep, that's for sure.
Eric says he's hit 2 of them. And Janet Humphrey says she hit an elk with a little firefly. What's a firefly?
Yeah, I can't imagine that. I worked with a guy who used to live in Maine, and he would talk about hitting a moose. I was like,
what?
I can't believe that. Yeah, you saw like the moose is so tall that it usually you just take the legs out of it and then it comes into the cab of your car.
Right.
I can't imagine that, especially at 60 miles an hour.
Heck no, that'd be bad. I seen one on TikTok, I think, of this guy hitting a moose, man, and I think the moose ended up killing him because,
Yeah.
you can see the I guess he had a dash cam or something, and the moose, you don't see anything. Like it looks pitch black, right? And then and it's snowing. It looked pitch black, and then all of a sudden you see lights under something, right? Like coming at you that was on in the other lane. And there's that moose, and then he's like, "Oh crap!" And he locks him up, slides into it, comes in, and like the moose is laying there on top of the car, like smushing this guy. And you can hear him breathing, and it cuts off. So I don't know that I don't think he made it from what I was reading in the comments. Man, that's bad. Like moose and man, elk would definitely hurt you or kill you one if you hit them. A firefly is an itty bitty little like a Chevy Aveo. Okay. I'd never heard of a firefly. That's pretty cool.
I never heard of that either.
Oh wow. Jason said his wife hit a daggone cow, totaled the blazer. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've seen that happen before too.
A cow?
Yeah.
Oh Lord, man.
Yeah, cows get out in the road, and people just don't. You can't see them when you come around a blind turn, and there they are. They're going to get it.
Be like on Me, Myself, and Irene. You remember that whenever he run up on that cow that had just gotten hit by a car?
I remember that movie, but I barely remember that.
Yeah. He's like trying to help it. He couldn't help us. He ends up shooting it, and it ends up going like. I'm gonna have to go watch that movie now. That's funny.
Yeah. Was it Tommy Boy where they put the deer in the back of the
yeah.
He
rips that convertible. Rips the convertible top all to pieces. Hey,
I've seen that happen too. I've seen people put deer in the back of their truck that they hit alongside the road, thought it was dead, put it back in their truck, and then get up and jump out.
That's insane. Sorry, man, but could you imagine putting first of all, what makes you think to not gut that thing first?
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure I'd probably gut it open first before I go just hauling off with it. But there's a TikTok video of a guy who had his kid and walks his kid up to this deer, and he's like, "Oh man, you got your first buck. All right. And you can hear the other son going, "It's breathing, daddy." And there's daddy filming, right? And he's like, "Safety first, son." And he's telling that other little boy, put his gun down. Little boy puts his gun down, goes over and grabs that deer by the horns and goes to flip him around there like that. That deer goes like this and starts hopping. That boy had a hold of his antlers. He lets go and, takes off. And the daddy goes, "Oh, crap," and like throws the camera down or whatever. But, I mean, the little boy just told you from behind you that he said, "Daddy, that thing's breathing, daddy." I mean, wasn't paying no mind to him though. He was too excited for his other boy to supposedly killed that buck.
Well, this was way before cell phones or people carried cameras out in the woods with them or whatever. Now we all have our cell phone in the woods. We can take pictures of all that stuff, but you used to not have that. You used to not get a picture of it till you got it home, right? Old man I used to work with years ago, and he was close to retirement then. So he always told this story that he had a brand new 30-06 and he shot a big buck, and he put that 30-06 in that buck's rack and stepped back to take a picture of it, and the buck got up and took off and ran away with his gun. Now, I never believed that story. It was always funny to listen to tell it, but I always thought he was full of it and he was just joshing us.
Right.
But it's kind of funny, man. If you could think, if that really did happen, imagine what you would think.
Yeah, I would.
But again, people didn't carry those little pocket cameras that
right.
have the throwaway disposable.
Yeah, disposable.
People didn't carry that stuff with them when they went hunting. Or maybe they did. I don't know.
No,
I always thought he was full of it.
And they had
leg. But it's a funny story.
When we got home, they had them whatchamacallit ones. What do they call them? Polaroids. Yeah. Yeah, Polaroid, man. Go home, get a picture of what you got. I'm telling you what, I remember the first deer I killed when I was the second deer. It was the first buck I ever killed. We was on a deer drive, and they was all pushing them deer through. And they'd put me up at the furthest point. I had a 30-30, and I think I was 13 years old. Might have been 14. Anyways, I was deadly with that 30-30. my uncle, he's the one that took me hunting, taught me how to hunt and all that. And he started me out on that 30-30, and man, I was deadly with it. So we get on that deer drive. They set me out to the farthest point of it. And all you hear is, here they come, you know, and they're still a hooping and a hollering and pushing them deer through. And here they come. And they said I was up there. They said I looked like John Wayne, just boom, 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 just firing away, right? At button, it wasn't a button bucket. It was barely legal, is what they called it. They went over there and took a 30-06 shell up to it and stuck it up to his horns and said, well, he's legal, but barely. And anyways, John Humphrey, a Southern fella that was with us, he said, that's my deer. And I said, no, ain't your deer. I said, I shot it. And I killed it. I said, look at them holes in there. I said, that's 30-30 holes, not 270 holes. I said, 30-30s are blunt. You know, the way they impact and go in and out. No, he was just giving me a hard time. That's mine. My uncle comes up there and says, nope, that's John's. You shot the foot off. And he pulls the foot up there, and there, sure enough, the foot was gone off of it. But I swear to you, I didn't shoot that foot off. They said, oh, you look like John Wayne up there. Just boom, boom, boom. But I kid you not. I swear to you, I think there was 5 shells in that gun. And there was 5 holes. Now, they said there had to be 6 because they after that, they said either I had 6 and shot his foot one time, or he'd been shot before, you know, earlier in the season or whatever. But anyhow, there was 5 shots in his vitals, and he dropped right there. I mean, he looked, to me, it looked like Kevin Costner when Kevin Costner was shooting that buffalo on what do you call it? The Dancing with Wolves.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, and he shoots that buffalo. That's kind of what it reminded me of as I got older and thought about it, you know. But there was 5 holes in that deer's vitals, but they said, they gave me a rough time, man. They said, oh, you shot its foot off. That's all you did. You just shot its foot off, you know. But I'll tell you, I don't think it. Huh?
How old were you then?
I was 13 or 14. Yeah, I was just a kid, man. But it wouldn't fall. And here I am, because that doe I shot, the first one I'd shot on Monday, this was, I think, on a Wednesday. On Monday, when I shot that doe, she just dropped right there, you know. I mean, she just buckled and dropped, but she wasn't maybe 20 yards away. And when they were doing that drive, it was crazy. You know, it's my first deer drive. I'd never been on anything like that in my life. And you got people shooting around you, you know, in their lanes, you know what I mean? And here these deer come across, and you got other guys pushing them deer in, and they're all these deer are running, right? And I picked one that was leading out, and that's the one I went with, and I kept shooting, and it wouldn't fall. And it finally fell and went down, but there was 5 holes in that deer because and I guess that's why they were giving me a hard time. Oh, that's a 270 shot that. It's a 270 shot that. Them guys gave me such a hard time up there. I was the youngest one, and the rest of them, you know, they had all grew up. It was my uncle and all of his buddies that he went to high school with. They all went to hunting camp together. And so I grew up with all them, you know, hunting and stuff. And they always give me a hard time. It was not the funnest being the youngest there, you know, sometimes,
yeah.
man.
Yeah, I was going to say, and maybe that's why I'm not a fan of drives, but, you know, when we grew up, you were never the stander. You were the driver because you didn't have enough seniority to be the stander.
Yep.
And
yep.
It just made me hate drives. And
they would do is they'd switch us up, man. You know, they would, so we'd have 2 groups, and you'd have one group that push, and whenever that group got to where you guys were at, that group would come down off mountain, circle around, we'd tell where to go to, and then we'd get there and we'd stand till we was ready, till the other, you know, we were all ready, and then we'd holler and tell them to push, and then on walkie-talkies, and then they'd start pushing, and they were always good about taking turns and stuff. Man, if they didn't ride me hard because I was the youngest, you know, but I always enjoyed it because, like I said, they never did. They always let me, you know, stand and push, you know. So I had a good time doing that. But back then, I didn't realize how dangerous it was. You know what I mean? I don't know that I'd want to do that now.
That's the only reason I don't like them. That's a good way to get people shot.
Yeah,
I mean, if you do it responsibly, then it's probably just fine. But I'd say chances are it's not going to be. You know, somebody's going to make a mistake, and only because it's easy to make a mistake in the situation, right?
Right. It
You
is.
get in the heat of the moment, seeing a bunch of deer running at you, and all you think about is trying to get them down. Next thing you know, you shot your buddy over here because you were shooting too far out of your lane.
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I don't like it. I
Yep.
I get asked all the time from guys I work with, "You want to drive this weekend? You want to drive this weekend?" I'm like, "No, thanks. I'm good."
Right. Yeah. I like to say, I don't know that I'd want to do it now. Like when I was a kid, I never thought nothing about it because that's what I was raised up doing. But now that I've gotten older, I don't know that I could trust anybody to do that with. You know what I mean? That I wouldn't have to worry about getting shot. So, and like you said, accidents happen. You know, you might not mean to do it. You know, just accident, getting
Yeah,
the heat of the moment.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's easy to happen in a situation like that.
Yeah, it is. It is. So, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff, you know, that tradition wise that we grew up doing that people nowadays probably think are what are you talking about? What's a deer drive? You know, what in the world are you talking about? You know, or cover scent. That's all the rage. What are you talking about? Blue jeans. And I can remember Steve Cottrell. When you said that, I remembered Steve Cottrell. So when we went hunting in Gilmer County every year, we went to Steve Cottrell's place. And I'm gonna tell you what, man. Now these people was about as poor people you ever did see. Nicest people you ever met, but poor. He worked a good job, but he paid all the money out to pay the taxes on that land because they owned a lot of land, and a pipeline was on there. We'd go up and hunt the pipeline right away. Well, anyhow, you know, he always hunted, and we'd go up there in camo and everything else, and he'd come out with blue jeans, a t-shirt, and he'd put a flannel button up on, and he had a flannel jacket that he put over top of that, and he'd say, "Well, boys, it's time to go get it," you know. And I'm sitting there going, "Well, why ain't he got no camo on?" And we do. And he'd come out there every year with a deer, you know, never fail. And I've always been of the thought, you know, camo is just a luxury. You know, it's just telling you I'm out here hunting. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean anything. It's not doing me any other good than that. It's just letting you know I'm out here hunting, and I like to wear it, you know, when I'm hunting. But other than that, it don't do any good.
Yeah, I've always felt like that too. Camo was a stereotype too. It's like all the boys from the holler that grew up in the holler, they always wore camo 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
Yep.
So I was really against camo for the longest time, but I do like my real tree edge, and I do wear it. So.
Yep, I do too. That's always been my favorite was real tree. I ain't never liked mossy oak, nothing.
Yeah, I don't either.
And so I've always been a real tree man. You know,
I got a. I don't know if I told you before. I made a video of it last year, but I don't think I ever posted it because it just never made it to that stage. But my tree stand that I've been hunting in the most. I have a couple different spots there, but my favorite one is on the downhill. So you know, land's up here, and the deer activity for the most part is either up here or right down here. This is where I want them to come from, but sometimes they come from up here, and when they come from up here, they're above me, so they see me easily. So I built me a blind. I looked into buying a tree stand blind, and they were just crazy expensive. And I was like, man, I got some old pieces of pipe and some corn clamps, and screwed them corn clamps into the tree and put that pipe around and hung that mossy oak. Only because I couldn't find real tree, but that like burlap.
Yep.
Mossy oak burlap, and cut slits in it that I can look through. And yeah, it works great, man. It cost me like $20 to do that. I had the pipe laying around out here. And
that's crazy.
Burlap.
Heck yeah.
It works like fun, man. I love it.
That's nice. I remember one time I had this idea to weld a platform together that could be adjustable to the size of a tree at 12 foot high, right? So it'd be a 12-foot platform, adjustable size for whatever width of the tree is at 12 foot, and have another ring that ran around the top of it that was a track that had like a ball bearing, you know, like a kind of like this, right? So there'd be like a piece of pipe sticking through here, a piece of metal sticking through here, running on ball bearings that went all the way around a track. That would be the track right here, right? Go all the way around the tree. So you never had to get up and stand. You could just take your seat and swivel all the way around the tree in that track, you know? And I legitimately had the idea to build that, man. And I got working on it over at Phillips. When I worked at Phillips one time, I was over working on it and trying to build it. Guy walks up and says, "What are you doing?" And I explained it to him. He said, "That'd be pretty nice to have." It's about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks later, I was over there fooling with it, and one of the big guys come through, one of the general managers. He said, "What are you building?" I explained it to him. He said, "Throw that crap in the dumpster. You ain't got time for this crap. We got to build miners." And I threw it in the dumpster, but what he didn't realize is it was my day off, you know. But I'd come in on my day off to build that, and but I threw it in the dumpster because I just didn't want no trouble with him. But yeah, and I still think it'd be a pretty daggone good idea. I still ain't never seen nothing like that built yet. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, because I mean, think about it. You just sit in your chair, and all you got to do is scoot your feet along the thing, and just take your little chair all the way around the thing. All right, see you later. Thank you for coming in.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
But yeah, man. I've had lots of ideas about stuff for hunting, and I think the more that we set out there, I think the older we get, the more we set out there, and the more we kind of look back at life and all that we've seen and experienced in the woods. I think it really, gets us to thinking differently than what a lot of people are taught, because you think about this, back when we was a kid, all those big time hunters, T-Bone and Michael Waddell and Bill Jordan and all, and all them guys that real tree hunting, they was all just young coming up in the 90s. Well, they weren't. Bill Jordan wasn't young, but he was, close to our age probably back then. And, they were coming up and hunting and stuff. And, kind of wonder, had it not been for them, and us watching them, if, because in our mind, I can remember being a kid, in my mind, those guys were who I wanted to be hunting. I wanted to be them guys. I didn't want to be the Steve Cottrell that could kill a 100 deer if he wanted to in a flannel top and blue jeans. You know what I mean? I wanted to be those guys on TV. And I kind of wonder, especially nowadays where that's even bigger than it was back when we were growing up, how many of us, would have did a little bit better if we would have, listen to the Steve Cottrells instead of the maybe the Bill Jordans and stuff. You know what I mean? Not that they're always wrong about what they're telling us, but I think we've lost a lot of things. I think have been lost because of that. I don't know what you would call it. It's not really a genre. It's a I guess just a lifestyle. You know what I mean? And you see it a lot, talked about a lot in a lot of these groups and stuff. There's all these forms of opinions on this stuff, and it's always, well, so and so on TV says this or that. The Drury said this, or the Jordans said that, or whatever. So I just wonder how much we've lost and how much more we're going to lose before we realize all that stuff ain't necessity.
Yeah. Well, I mean, with all that being said, one thing that disappoints me is with all the, I'm still trying to put together a YouTube video of my hunting season, even though there's not much to show. I want to put it out there that you can go to 1 million YouTube channels right now and click on a video and watch them kill a deer within a minute, or TikTok, or Facebook Reel, but it ain't that easy.
No, it's not.
And they make it appear like it is. And in the big pictures of things, harvesting a deer is a slim to none chance if you think about it in a big picture thing. Is your life and that deer's life have to cross paths at the exact perfect moment, not 10 seconds before and not 10 seconds after.
Yep.
I saw a deer the other day that came down right before dark. I heard him in there 5:15, but it was starting to get dark. My visibility was getting limited and more limited by the minute. I finally saw it pop up on the ridge top on the horizon, and it was too late to do anything about it. It done got too dark. I couldn't see my crosshairs anymore. 2 steps later, he went over the hill. And it's what I told Kelly when I got down there. I said 15 minutes earlier. If you'd been down there 15 minutes earlier, we'd be talking about the deer that I got.
Yep.
But it didn't happen because it's gotta happen at that perfect moment.
Yep.
It can't be before or after. It's got to be at that exact perfect moment that my life and that deer's life have to cross paths at the exact perfect moment.
And you think about how cool that is, though.
Yeah.
You know,
that's huge. You know,
Yeah.
that's the kind of stuff I sit up there in this tree for a month and a half and think about.
That's
I was
funny.
like, that's huge. And
Right.
the picture of the big wide world, that's a huge, huge deal, man.
Right.
I mean, what are the chances of that happening?
Exactly.
Everybody I know, everybody I work with, everybody who lives around me, everybody got deer. So, you know, it's happening for some people. It
Right.
didn't happen for me.
Right.
But even though it happened for all these other people that I know, it's because their life and that deer's life crossed paths at the exact perfect moment.
Yep. And you know, everything went off without a hitch, because even if you are there and see that deer, just like with me, and you get the deer, you got the shot, you know, things happen between that shot and impact.
Yeah.
You know, things happen after impact, you know. So there's so much that goes on that deer hunting is. You know, deer hunting is so many different things, and it is a very complex thing, because a lot of people will try to say, oh, you know, hunters are bad, that's horrible that you would go out there and do that, whatever. But at this, you know, you got to think about it like this: without hunters, there would be an abundance, an overabundance, and there would be a lot of death because of that, a lot of death and disease because of that. Hunters is what keeps the balance, you know.
That's right.
And what people don't realize is it's not easy for us as hunters to do that. You know, it's not easy for us to watch these deer all summer long, grow these antlers, raise their young, right? Do all the things that we watch them do, for us to turn around and take that life. It's the same as if we go out here and take a life of one of our pigs or chicken or whatever, right? It's still taking that life, and it's being able to respect that life and everything. And it's just such a complex, hunting is so complex, it's just not even funny.
Well, I don't know if I told you this story before or not, but I was hunting with somebody. I'm not going to mention names because I don't want to. I'm just not going to mention names. I was hunting with somebody. They harvested a deer, and when we found the deer, the first thing I did was kneel down beside it, put my hands on it, rubbed it down, and said a little prayer and thanked it. And the person that was with me laughed at me and said, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" I said, "Man, you have to respect this animal." And you know, maybe homesteading is because I wasn't always like that.
Right.
But, you know, maybe raising my own pigs and having to walk out here and put down my pig, maybe that changed. Maybe that changed me.
Right.
But that's how I am, and I'll do it for every single one. You know, it's appreciate what we got and be thankful for it and respect it.
Right. Absolutely. Because it gave its life so we can have life.
Yeah.
You know?
A couple of years ago, I shot a spike. Well, it's been more than a couple of years ago. It's probably the first one I ever killed after we moved up here. I shot a spike in the stand that we've been talking about all day, matter of fact. And I don't remember what the situation was, but it somehow broke its back, and it hit the ground on its rear end and took its front legs and tried its damnedest to get away, just driving, trying to get away from me. My God, I felt so bad about that. I felt like a real freaking jerk, you know?
Yep.
And luckily it gave out soon. But watching that thing do that, I felt so bad. It was even hard to go back hunting again after that.
There's things like that you know, you're like, oh man, you know, I should have made a better shot, or I should have did this, should have did that, you know. And I mean, things happen like that, and it makes it hard, you know, because you're like, you don't want it to suffer. You want what you want is, as soon as you pull that trigger, you release that arrow, you want it to just expire. As soon as it hits, just expire and be done, right? And sadly, that just ain't the way it happens.
That's not really the case a lot of times. I've been fortunate enough that everything that I've harvested up here, I haven't had to track anything hardly, except for a few. But again, just getting lucky, I guess, because you just never know.
Right.
I've
You
seen
don't.
people put a shot right through the heart and they still run for 120 yards after that. So
Yep. I've
it's
seen
hard to
them
believe. It's really
Yep.
hard to believe they can do that, but they do.
Well, you think about it. I've gutted them. Their lungs and heart be exploded. Nothing but blood comes out of the cavity when you take the diaphragm out. And it's like, how did you run over 100 yards with nothing to pump it? Pure adrenaline, just driving that thing. Let me tell you something. You shoot me, I'm laying there. I'm just laying.
Yeah, I had this conversation with somebody just last week. I was like, people don't do that. People get the smallest, tiniest little scratch on them, and it's all woe is me.
Yep.
Why don't we fight for life like an animal does?
It ain't in us. It ain't in us.
I don't understand it.
Yeah, it's not. I think it used to be in us. When you listen to how people used to fight. You listen to the history about how the Native Americans would fight, or how some of these other countries, the Germans, when they way back, in the Roman times and stuff, when they would fight, right? Like they had this tenacity about them, right? Like they were just unstoppable forces. But I think the human condition is so that now, where we have all these nice amenities and stuff, it's just like, oh, I got a paper cut, somebody kissed my boo-boo. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's how we're just wired anymore. You think about this. Think about your grandparents, your grandpas, right? And how hard-nosed men they were, right? Like, men aren't like that anymore. So it's totally different, man. Not them Germans, Eric. Wrong Germans, bro. Not talking about the 1930s and 40s Germans. I'm talking about the 1600 Germans. way before that stuff got put out there. So they were like, read about them and when they would fight with the Romans. That's pretty cool stuff. They were very well. Even the Vikings. You think about that, man. Their stories of Vikings being shot with multiple arrows, and getting them pulled out and carterized and lived to fight another day. Like those. Yeah, those were some men, man. I mean, they were. You shoot me with an arrow now, I'm just, hey, bro, take me to the hospital, man. I need to, you know what I mean? Like, I ain't gonna make it. That's what I'm gonna say. But they weren't like that. They were a totally different breed of people back then, man. And it's just the way life is now, I guess. Yeah. So, is there anything else you guys got going on down there at the homestead that?
Pig harvest coming real soon. I was saying I was going to do it the weekend of the 8th in December, but you know what? That's next weekend.
Right.
They're creeping up pretty quick. And I'm not sure I'm quite ready. So it's probably going to be the following weekend, which is going to be the 15th. Cool. What's going to be cool about that for us is that's going to be the first full-grown pig that we've raised here to be harvested.
Is it going to be one of the twins?
What's that?
Is it going to be one of them twin pigs?
Yep, one of the mics.
Okay.
And I told Kelly we may do both the mics. I'm not real sure at this point. I'm definitely going to do one. Right. We may do both of them. It just depends on how the weekend goes.
That'd be very cool.
Yeah.
Who all you got coming to help you?
Cooney's 2-year grow outs. So we were supposed to do this last December, but if you remember last December, we never had weather to cooperate. It was always too warm.
Right.
So
who y'all got helping y'all?
I don't have anybody lined up yet. I hadn't really talked about it. My brother and his daughter, she's been doing some butcher training. Right. They came and helped me do the little roasters, but it just depends if they're available or not.
So you're going to take and scald it and scrape it?
I'm planning on, because I want to try and make a prosciutto, and I have to have the skin on for that. So that's going to be my plan.
Cool.
And hopefully this should go okay.
You gonna make any hog head sauce?
I'm thinking about it. I think we're going to do a lot of the stuff that I got trained in these courses that I went to a couple times over the last couple of years. like the prosciutto, which is prosciutto is 2 to 3 years to finish, but
Really?
yeah. I think on a pig this size, his hams aren't huge. You might do it in 18 months, 24 months. But on a big pig, it's 2 to 3 years. I'll make a capicola out of the neck muscle.
That is a long time. Ain't no wonder it costs so much. I love prosciutto.
Yeah, I do too. It's the best part of a pig, really. Everybody wants the bacon, but I want the prosciutto, man.
Exactly.
Yeah, so they're talking head cheese. I may do a head cheese. I've never done it before, but I have seen it done in some of the training we've gone to. And
I don't know that I could eat that.
Definitely. Oh man, see, that's it. We talked about the liver last time. I'm gonna make liverwurst.
See, it's the
and
thought,
I would never
bro.
dream
I can't
when
get
I went
over
to those
thought.
courses and they served that liverwurst. I never dreamed that would have been my favorite thing outside of the prosciutto. The prosciutto was my favorite, but outside of the prosciutto, out of all that stuff they served us, the liverwurst was favorite.
I can't.
You don't know what you're missing, man.
Like, dude, you know what? My daddy used to make us eat potted meat. Okay.
Yeah.
I hate potted meat now.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. I can't stand pot. I told Annie, I said, it ain't nothing but Vienna weenies freaking ground up and put in a pot in a can. Like I just can't do it.
Well, I was gonna say we're gonna do out of some head meat. We're probably gonna make a roulette,
like
which
the
is
jaws.
French. Yeah, and we'll boil the head and get the meat off of it. Slow cook it. We'll make a roulette, which is the American version of roulette is potted meat, except the difference is potted meat is mechanically separated, but we're going to pull it off.
Right.
So you'll have nice pieces of meat
Strips.
instead of
yeah. I can do that. I can't do ground chunky. Yeah. My daddy used to make us eat that stuff. I hated that stuff, man. Just give me the can of Vienna weenies. I ain't eating that potted meat.
What about Vienna sausages? You like those?
I'll eat them. I'll eat Viennies, but I can't eat. Huh?
You don't like them? You just eat them?
No, I mean, I like the barbecue. Regular ones are all right. Barbecue ones, I don't care. I like them pretty good. And then I got these ones that got like jalapenos on them or something. They're not bad. But something about potted meat and just the way it looks, like somebody took a Vienna weenie, chewed it up, and spit it in a can.
Yeah, I get that. And I like potted meat, I think, because of the fatty saltiness of it as well.
I like the salty taste of Vienna weenies, but I don't. Yeah.
But yeah, I do agree with you that the texture of potted meat is almost vomit. So
yeah, exactly.
But this roulette I'm talking about is that it's not that texture at all.
Yeah, see, I could eat that. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't think I could eat hog head sauce, hog head cheese, whatever you want to call it, because of the way it looks. Yeah,
well, you got to get over that. You just get past that because the flavor is amazing.
Yeah. Oh man, I just don't know, man. See, it's like taking and making stuff out of blood. I don't know that I could eat that because it just the way it looks, like it's just. I mean, it's not that I don't want to. It's just I just don't know that I can. There's some things I just.
What about scrapple? You like scrapple?
What is that?
So I think it's another one of the things where you just take the meat off the bones and things like that. And scrapple and geta, I've always done geta. The workshops I go to are essentially the same thing, except scrapple is the American version. It's made with cornmeal, I think, and geta is made with rolled oats. I think I have that right. And it's basically all the scrap. I think that's how it got its name, scrapple. It's all the scrap that you pull off the bones, and you just slow cook all that stuff and get all the eatable stuff off of it, and make your bone broth, toss the bones or whatever, give your bones to your dog or whatever you do with those, and fry it up in a pan like you do with sausage. It's really good.
Huh.
I'm surprised you don't know scrapple. I thought scrapple was a big thing out y'all's way.
I don't know. I ain't never, unless they call it something. They might call it something else. Cause her daddy eats all that stuff, man. I just can't do it. They'll eat pig feet, and they'll eat the snout.
Yep.
Nope, I can't do it. I do the cooney pig snout because the cooney don't sit there and root around in his pig poop all day. You know what I mean? And
I don't think. I don't think we used to snout at any of the workshops I went to. I think that's something that got tossed along with the eyeballs.
yeah,
And
yeah.
there's some portions inside the ear that are kind of nasty. You don't want to eat. But
Right.
you carve all that away. You know. They said we spent hours cleaning the ears out at some of those workshops I went to. And I was like, yeah, okay, I've had enough of this. Jason's asking about pig brains. The thing about pig brain is, you got brain sausage. You can use the brains for tanning, which I want to do, but I was hoping to use deer brains for tanning. The problem with pig brains for us is that our weapon of choice is 410 ball slug. That's the way I was trained to do it. A lot of people do a 22 or a 22 250. Those are fine. The first time you screw up shot placement with the 22 will be the last time you ever kill a pig. You'll never want to do it ever again. And the 410 kind of takes that out of play. And so back to your brain question is there's usually not any usable brain left after a 410 ball slug goes through its skull. So,
yep.
But if you were like old school, where you hog tied them and stuck them and bled them out, absolutely. I mean, the brains are useful. The settlers used it to tan hides, deer, cow, pigs. They made pig leather. Yep. And they used the brains, a brain soapy egg solution to tan the hides, which I wanted to actually do with my deer hides, but you've already been down that road on this discussion, and there aren't none yet. And yes, brain sausage. I don't know that you can eat the brains like flat out on a plate, fry them up or something. I've never heard of that, but maybe that's possible too.
They say her daddy eats brains and eggs. They fry them up, scrambled eggs and brains, and eat them.
Oh yeah, I think I have heard of that.
Nope, I ain't doing it. I ain't doing it. No, sir. That's the same thing, man. They eat squirrel brains. They'll take and get squirrel brains and eat them, man. They'll take a squirrel and they'll bull the whole day. They'll pull the guts out, pull the tail off, and hide all off of it, and take the hide off the face. They'll bull the whole squirrel, pop his head off, bust the cap of his brain cap off there, and eat the brains out of him, man. Yep.
How much brain is in a squirrel?
Enough that they'll eat them like little hors d'oeuvres, man. They take a little fork and stick in there and then pull them out and eat them. Nope. Can't do that one neither. Huh?
Never heard of that.
Yeah, they eat squirrel brains around here. I ain't eating no squirrel brains. No, sir. No, sir. Yeah, like a walnut. It's about like what it is, about like a walnut. My grandma had these little forks. I think they was olive forks is what they called them. She had them little forks, and man, anytime she'd have squirrels and she'd bust their cap right. I mean, she'd just take it like that with a butter knife and it'd crack that skull. She'd peel it back and she'd stick that little old fork down there and grab them brains out and eat them. Nope, can't do it. But she made a killer squirrel gravy and biscuits. Now I tell you what, now that I wasn't opposed to eating that. Them squirrel gravy and biscuits was good to eat, man. I loved them. I ate them all day. So in fact, now I'm getting hungry for squirrel gravy and biscuits. We're gonna have to go kill us some.
Yeah, I haven't had that in years.
Really?
I don't know if I mentioned that. We kind of quit squirrel hunting up here. I used to do it with my boys. We're still living here. They'd like to go up there and squirrel hunt. I kind of quit doing it after that. But that daggone woods up there is overrunning squirrels. I mean, they've been aggravating the crap out of me for a month and a half.
You need to go up there.
I've been thinking this whole time, I sure would like to have a pot of squirrel gravy.
Yep. You need to go up there and put a cap in a couple of them, man. Bring them down there and make your video on squirrel gravy. Hey, you need to get on you need to get in on my the
odd meals.
Huh?
The odd holiday meal channel.
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I wanted to ask you about that. And when you mentioned the squirrel brains or squirrel gravy and that, then it reminded me. Is that on a schedule or can I just do it when it suits me? In December.
No, you'll have to get a day. You have to get a day picked. But I mean, you tell me what day you're looking at, and I can tell Tony, and I can also get you put on the email list or whatever if you wanted to do it. You know what I mean? So,
well, I'll tell you this: I am interested in doing it, and I know exactly what I'm going to do. However, it's 100% dependent upon this pig harvest going off on schedule.
okay. So, well, I mean,
And I promise you, what I'm going to make, you're not going to want to eat. Based on the conversation we've had here the last few minutes, you're not going to want to touch it with a 10-foot pole. But
probably
it's one of the most amazing things you've ever put in your mouth.
blood pancakes or something.
What's that?
Blood pancakes or something.
No, but I could do that.
Yeah. Oh God, no. I can't bring myself to do it. I'd have to be starved.
Let's back up now. What's your issue with the blood pancake?
I can't get over the blood.
Just because you know it's blood, because
Yeah.
there's no texture difference or anything in the regular.
Just because I know it's blood in there. Blood. Every time I see blood, like a lot of blood, it's always inside of a deer, and I hate the smell of it. That real irony smell, I don't like it. So the only time I'm eating anything weird or anything like that is when I absolutely have to. I mean, I can eat some disgusting things. I have eaten some disgusting things, when I in the Army, but not because I wanted that, nasty worms and bugs and stuff like that, but not because I wanted to. It's because I was dag blame hungry. I ain't had no choice in the matter.
Yeah, how long do I have to sign up for this thing?
I mean, we're trying to get everything pushed out as fast as possible. So so I mean, if you want in on it, I'll message Tony, let him know, and get you an email sent to you.
Yeah, I would like to, but I have to have something after my pig harvest, and if that goes off the weekend of the 15th, it'll have to be like the weekend
the
after that. So I'm looking at probably later than the week after Christmas, probably.
Okay. Yeah, I can work.
But I am going to tell you that you're on the right track. That my dish is going to have pig blood in it, but it's not blood pancakes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can get you in on that, man. Because the way it was, we didn't have enough people to fill the whole month of December up. So we was going to start it on December 11th and end it on the 24th. But we've added more people, so we'll probably just keep pushing on through. And what it is every day there's a video released by at least one person.
So, I saw your schedule on your was it Facebook post? I saw it on maybe.
Might have been, yeah. So
I'm interested, but I'll have to have something later because, like I said, the pig harvest has got to go on schedule for that to happen.
Yeah, that's fine, man. That's absolutely fine. So and then, like I say, even if it don't happen on time or whatever, like let's say you got a date set, but that don't happen, you can still do something weird. It don't matter. You know what I mean? So
that just require me to think about something different.
Right. Just got there and bust you a couple squirrels and fry them up. Somebody mentioned if we were going to have possum tenders and yard greens. And so I'm thinking about going and trapping a possum and having some possum tenders and yard greens. Yeah.
Have you had that before?
Yeah. Well,
I've never heard of eating possum, but I'd probably try it, I guess.
This old feller I used to work with, he used to come in and jokingly say, "I've got possum tenders and yard greens if you want some." And I was what? He said, "Yeah, possum tenders. The back strap on a possum there, possum tenders." And I said, "What's yard greens?" He said, "Oh, Josh, the only thing you find in the yard green, like dandelion and poke greens, just make you a salad out of it." And I said, "Okay." So he said, "You want me to bring you some?" I said, "Sure." I didn't think he was serious. He sure enough was. He was dead serious. I got you some possum tenders and yard greens. And I said, "No, you don't." He opened that deal. Sure enough, it was possum and it was yard greens. And nope, the smell was enough. I took a bite of the crunchy stuff on the outside, but that's about all I wanted. Yeah. But I thought about making them and trying them, just give it a real good, go, because we need the views here on this channel. So let's eat some possum.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I've never had that, but I don't know if you know Andrew Zimmer or not. He used to do the Bizarre Foods, travel all around the world eating crazy stuff.
Yep.
Always had a rule that if he would try it, I would try it. And the only thing that I ever saw him eat that he didn't like was Spam. He won't eat Spam. But I love Spam.
Spam, if you fry Spam up, man, that stuff's good. I like fried Spam. Now look here, Jason. Barbecue coon is good, man. I'm telling you, good. But here's the thing: we make sure that if we get a coon from somebody, we make sure that they got the feet still on them. You know why? You know why we make sure they got the feet still on them? So that we know it ain't a cat. That's why we make sure that the feet's still on them when we get them. So nobody around here will get a coon if the feet ain't on it still, because they don't know if it ain't a cat. So they make sure.
I know that.
Yep. So if you ever go to try to sell coon to anybody, make sure you leave the feet on them. That way they can tell it's not a cat. So, yes, sir. But hey, maybe we should have some coon too. Lord, I mean, there's all kinds of weird things a person could eat. All kinds.
Stuff you wouldn't imagine.
Yeah, right.
The survival plays a huge role in it. If you get to the point to where you need to survive, you're going to change how you feel about eating pig's blood.
Right. You'll be like Daffy Duck looking at Bugs Bunny going like this with a fork and a knife, like all starved out, hungry. You'll be looking at a pile of dun going, oh boy, I like the way that looks. That's filet mignon today.
Yeah.
Rattler's good. I've killed several rattlesnakes. They're pretty good.
I've never had it, but I've always heard that it was good.
It's a little greasy.
Personally, I don't want to run into one to find out. But if somebody wanted to bring me some meat, I would probably not turn it down.
You should come up here this spring. We'll go hunt a couple of them from down Deepwater.
No,
I know where they hang out at.
I have no interest in that.
In herds.
No.
I mean, herds of them.
No.
We just go up there and grab a few of them. And I'm serious, man. You should come up here and do that.
I'll come up there and get some rattler out of your freezer, but that's the closest I'll come to it.
Hey, Kettle Kitchen, what's going on? Hey, Kettle Kitchen, bro. Thank you for coming in. Steven here wants to join our little thing there. So would you mind emailing him, please? hematitehomestead@gmail.com, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Appreciate it, bro. Thank you for coming in too, man. Hope you're doing well out there. Y'all go check out Kettle Kitchen and make sure you guys subscribe to his channel. Really good channel. Love what he does out there. Really do. He's an awesome, awesome guy. So is there anything else you got going on that you want to let anybody know about?
Yeah, those are the most important things right now. It's kind of, like talked about, it's kind of full circle for us. We're going to harvest him over here in the Farron barn. Of course, he wasn't born there. We bought him as a tiny barrow. But, yeah, that's kind of a big deal for us. It's going to be our first ever big one that would, we've only done roasters to this point. So,
right.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting some real retail cuts of meat out of pig for a change, not just little stuff. I put my state fair video today. Can you believe it's been 2 months ago since we did that?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah. And I finally got my video posted today. I haven't posted a video in that long because I've been so busy, mainly because I've been up in the woods trying to make hunting videos.
Right.
But anyway, a little portion of that, my 3-year-old grandson had open heart surgery within 48 hours of that event. And there's a little piece of that in that video. And I got a link to my son's video that he put on YouTube kind of commemorating that event. And that's really cool. His channel is Steven with the V, and Journey of a Heart Warrior is the name of the video. And I put a link to that in my today's video that I released on the 841 fruit that I grew. And it's just a truly inspiring, awesome story. And Steven didn't even go into detail into his story because him and his mother agreed they wanted to keep it minimum. But I mentioned a little bit in my video that I put out today. Is just totally amazing. But then, so the clip that's in my video was within 48 hours, but really at the 30-some hour mark, not even less than 36 hours, it was like full recovery, and he was ready to bounce out of there and take off running. It was just totally amazing.
Kids are awesome. Kids are awesome, man.
Yeah, that kind of goes back, and the doctors at UVA who were awesome. If you ever have to go through that and you go to UVA, just know you're going to be in good hands because everybody there was super nice. The doctors were awesome. It was just wonderful. But anyway, they mentioned there, kind of like what we talked about earlier about the animals wanting to live and fighting to live, and us going crazy over paper cuts. And he mentioned that adults are like that, but kids are
aren't.
not. Yeah, because they don't really know the pain.
Right.
So
they're conditioned into it.
Right. That's right. So, yeah, that's why they bounce back so much faster, because if it had been me or you, and I said it a million times, it took me a week to recover from that, probably, to even get out of the bed.
Right.
Yeah. And he did it in less than, it was less than 30 hours. He was up and walking around.
That's incredible. That's an incredible story. So you guys make sure you go
check that out if you want. That's a pretty cool little thing.
It's very cool.
And we hope to put some of our, YouTube's got funny rules about what you can do with animals. And so I don't know how much of our pig harvest we'll actually make videos of. I'm going to video document a lot of it, but what makes it on YouTube, I'm not quite sure yet. Hopefully all these dishes we've been talking about that we're going to do out of this pig are going to make it on YouTube in some way, shape, or form. Just to let people know what we're doing. Right. We smoked some turkey for Thanksgiving. I did not make a video. I wanted to. I was so busy. I had so much stuff going on, and I really wish I had.
But tell them about how many butterball turkeys will you buy from now on?
0, big fat 0. Yeah, if you don't know what he's talking about, so I bought butterball breast. We don't do the whole turkey anymore. We quit doing that years ago, and I thought that I was getting. So they put it in a roaster bag, right? I don't use the roaster bag because I put it on my smoker. And when you put it on the smoker, you kind of bunch it all up together how you want it to cook, and that's how it stays. But the intent of the roaster bag is to hold it all in one shape so it doesn't turn flat. But if you shape it when you put it on the smoker, you don't need that bag. So I cut the bag off of it, and like 5 pieces of breast meat fell out of the bag onto the counter, and I was like, really? Man, I was mad. I was hot. But I was able to save it. So,
and you had a wild one too.
Yeah, that's right. I had a wild one too that I cooked the exact same way, and there was no comparison. No comparison whatsoever.
That's crazy, isn't it? That the wild one tasted better than the store-bought one. Again,
100 times.
What are they putting in there,
Yeah, that's a good question. Yep.
So Kettle Kitchen got you in there, so you got an email. So that's cool, man. I appreciate it, Kettle Kitchen. Thank you very much. So, guys, if you want a good channel to learn how to smoke stuff, how to preserve pigs, how to raise pigs, this is the guy I go to when I have problems with my pigs. I ask him everything about my pigs. And so if you're wanting to learn any of that stuff or other homesteading stuff, or you want to know how to grow giants, because he grows giant stuff as well. If you want to learn, I highly recommend going over here and checking his channel out. Guys, give him some love and support like you guys show me. He's a great channel. He does get busy from time to time, so sometimes he has to slack off a little bit. But hey, that's just part of being a YouTuber / worker. You got to go out and work everywhere else until you make it on YouTube, guys. So but he's got a lot of good content, very good videos, very informative. Go check out his channel, and again, show him some love like you guys show me. So go through the list real quick. December 5th, we got Enoch Graham. December 12th, we got Jason Lorish. Enoch Graham is from the Urban Gardener. We had him on back in the summer. He'll be back on with us on the 5th, which is next week. Can't wait to talk to him, see what all he's got going on out in California. Jason Lorish is the new world record butternut holder at like 130 something pounds. Is a massive butternut. Very, very happy for him, and happy to have him on December 12th. It's going to be a lot of fun talking about his journey to growing that record, and how he found out about giants and stuff. Then we're going to take a little hiatus, guys. I've been doing this for a year straight. I don't believe I've missed one Tuesday since starting this, the first Tuesday in January of this year. And so I'm going to take me a little hiatus. So December 19th and December 26th, if you want to see me, I'm going to be over at Kettle Kitchen, kicking it with him, playing some games. All right. So that's where I'm going to be December 19th and maybe the 26th. So the next one we will get to, let me see here. It will be January the 2nd. That'll be the next video we have. Will be January the 2nd of 2024. So, again, December 5th, December 12th, and then the next one will be January 2nd. So, guys, we're getting ready to end the year. It's been a full year. It's been a good year. It's been a wild one, that's for sure. And I can't wait for 2024 to see what we got going on and see what we can grow next year. So, is there anything else you want to tell everybody there, Stephen? You got anything?
Yeah, check us out, Hematite Homestead on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. Didn't mention Kelly and I were talking about our breeding plan. We're going to breed some pigs here in December and get ready for early spring litters. And
that's earlier than you usually breed, ain't
it? It is, because we weren't real thrilled with how late we did it last year. We think that might be part of the drawback for being able to get rid of them, is that we had them a lot later than most people do. So we're going to try and keep up with everybody this year.
Awesome.
And, so Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And I still haven't been back on TikTok, but I'm this close. I'm this close to getting over my madness at them and jumping back on that.
Trust me, you'll be on there for just a little bit and you'll be mad at them again. I get mad at them every day.
Yeah.
So it's just part of being on social media and being a homesteader. They hate us. We're not out here doing silly tricks on bikes or hurting somebody or doing burnouts or something. So
or being half naked, some nastiness. That's what made me the most mad about my ducks, is all the trash and smut that's on TikTok. And my ducks in the swimming pool got held for review. I was like, really? How about I shave all the feathers off of them? Would you like it more then?
Right. You know what I mean?
But anyway, appreciate you having me. It's always a great time.
Absolutely, man. I was glad to have you. If you'll hang on, we'll wrap this up on the other end. But guys, it's been a good place. Thank you to the moderators and everybody that's in here. Thank you guys for watching us. And we're going to catch you guys next week on Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So, guys, we'll see you next time right here in the Hollers and Hills of West Virginia. See y'all.
Thank you.